And let's see if I can get some music playing. We might be going without a theme song today. It's not coming on. So sometimes my phone likes to just stop responding.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, it wouldn't be production if everything was perfect.
That's right. That's right. And I've got us in gallery view because you guys, Fit Pros, we are now streaming. You're here. And we have got Brian Howe of FitBeat Music with us.
Hello.
Hey, Brian. And we are here to talk about music, what's going on with the music industry. He's going to give us some really great information on licensing and specifically on some issues that we might encounter at times with the royalty-free music that we're all getting. That's a big one. He is also going to talk to us a little bit about running a workout delivery business, which he is also doing. And so first, let's start off. I want to give a little bit of your resume, and I'm probably going to muddle it up, but you have worked with the biggest, most exciting names in the fitness industry. And I'll let you give a little rundown of those companies and in what capacity you've worked with them.
Sure, absolutely. And some I have worked with past tense, some I'm working with current tense, and some have been ongoing relationships for decades. One of my biggest clients is Beachbody. I've been working with them before they were Beachbody, when it was Shalene Johnson and Powder Blue Productions. And so we started way back in the late 90s together. I produced so Turbo Kick, the entire series, Turbo Jam, Turbo Fire, all those programs. I've produced 100% of all those programs musically. So we used to sit on the phones before Zoom meetings, and we'd go over and she would hum some beats over the phone, and I'd sit there and I'd mess around on the synthesizer coming up with these ideas, and then I would email them to her because we didn't have Messenger like this. We didn't have this technology back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And that's how we formed our relationship. And then, of course, that became Beachbody. Moving forward, that opened the door to other companies. And so I've produced for Fit TV Network, Gaiam, which you guys are familiar with Gaiam. I've produced a lot of their music. Even going back to some of the goofier ones like Buns of Steel, Abs of Steel, Shake Weight. I am the guy who put the music together on all those programs. I don't know if you know that or not. And one of the bigger known names is Les Mills. I've worked with Les Mills on programs. Spartan Race came out with a program called Spartan Strong, and I am the producer for that. So I've produced all of Spartan Strong's formats, which is backed by Lifetime Fitness, which I also produce for Lifetime Fitness. Some of the national fitness facility chains, Burn Boot Camp, Orange Theory Fitness, Tidal Boxing, Cycle Bar, and I'm probably forgetting a few. Yes. So what I do is I sit in this room behind me all day long, and my sole purpose is to come up with music programs based on the needs of the instructors that are using that music.
Wow, that is fascinating. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. So on top of teaching my classes and being an instructor, I love Les Mills On Demand. I do it every single day. So
I do Body Pump. Yes.
Yeah, they just do a great job, and the cover music and royalty free that they've got going on is great.
Yes, and the difference between Les Mills with a lot of the other people I work with is they're actually licensing original artists too. Like if you take Body Pump, they're using Imagine Dragons, not a cover version, But Imagine Dragons are one of those artists that have figured it out. So like my oldest son plays video games, and Imagine Dragons is the music to these video games. And so people like them are very smart, and they're figuring out how to get their music out into different platforms. And so they're not just one way, like, hey, I need to put my music out on iTunes and it's going to be on a music video. But then there's a lot of artists that aren't like that. And that's where people like me come in, where I can produce music specifically fitness formatted. And they can send me a reference and say, we need it to sound like this. It needs to be this length, this BPM. It needs to be this structure. Can you make it? And then I would reference that and make it for them.
That's really interesting to me for a few reasons. When you said that the artists are starting to figure it out and let their music be used in different genres, I remember, so 10 years ago, I used to own this company. What was it even called? Fit Classes. So I had a website called Fit Classes that actually got a lot of traction and a lot of traffic. And I was calling up the people. Do you know those CDs? They're called Music Now, Radio Now, something like that. Okay, so like I had meetings with the president and vice president, like, why can't you make me one of these that with the original music that I can send out to gyms? And
Yeah.
I could never understand like why they were telling me no. But there are just too many, it's almost like there's too many chefs in the kitchen to
A
get
lot of red
that
tape.
agreement
Yeah,
together.
a lot of hands in the pot, and that's a complication. And we'll definitely talk about that today.
Well, so you have a ton for us, and so I want to get right in and let you you start. So I'm going to share my screen. You sent me a few documents. I should bring up the one with the graphics first, right?
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about a couple things first. So let's definitely bring up the notes, the topics. Let's bring that
Okay.
up because that way people can kind of see what we're going to be talking about.
All right, beautiful. I actually didn't save that one. Hold on, let me grab it. Okay, if I go like, we'll get this together, y'all. Let's try this one more time. There we go. How's that?
That's perfect. Okay. Good deal. So basically, this is kind of some of the topics we're going to talk about, and I want to kind of get into it right off the bat with, and most people at this point have already understood this, and if they haven't, I'm just going to say it again real quick. Original artist versus cover artist versus original music, okay? There's a difference with all of it. Original artist, like we just talked about, Les Mills is using Imagine Dragons in some of their songs, okay? It's not someone playing Imagine Dragons music. That would be a cover version. So like when you order music from like Music Flex, Power Music, Dynamix Music, and things like that, and you want to hear a Britney Spears song or a Bruno Mars song, well, you're going to get the song, but not by those artists. That's cover. Now, if it was Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, that's original artist. So that's the difference between those two. Original artist is Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk. Cover version is John Doe singing Uptown Funk, made famous by Bruno Mars. We all kind of know that at this point. We should, especially in this industry. Original music, okay, what that is someone who composes completely new and original music. It probably is going to be unfamiliar to you, the listener, because it's not radio familiar. It's not a cover version of something radio familiar. It's completely original and its own piece of work. That's what I do, is I produce original music. So the music on my website is produced by me or my team of producers, which in turn basically means that you're getting something that is not covered or published by another record label. I'm the master rights holder or the publisher of that song because it's originally my composition. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And, you know, we did a downloadable infographic a while back kind of describing this. And I think on the infographic, we had described it as popular music, cover music, and royalty free.
That was with Denise, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Yep, I saw that. It was a great graphic, and I explained it. I'm not as cool as Denise when it comes to that stuff. So, and we'll talk about that in just a minute as well. And obviously, some of this stuff is just housekeeping notes. It's already been talked about. It's already been kind of beaten to death, but I just want to go over it again to make sure that these bases are covered. But there is one topic that has not been covered, and this is a new one. It's a brand new topic, and we'll get to it. But first, PPL versus sync license and its uses. I still see comments on the fitness pages about people saying, well, we have a PPL, so I should be able to use the music for my video. I'm just going to say it again. PPL stands for Public Performance License. Keyword, public performance, okay? And what that means is that you have a license to use the music in a public setting, gatherings of people. Guess what we're not doing right now? We're not doing gatherings of people. So you cannot use that license if you're not in public with people. It's meant to be a blanket license for you to be able to play anything you want in commercial facilities that are paying for it. A sync, or known as synchronization license, that's the license you need to be able to use music in a recorded format, whether it's generally a visual format as embedded background music. So again, most people should already understand this. This is pretty common, or not common sense, but common knowledge at this point. It should have been discussed. But again, I wanted to cover that. PPL, use it in your classes when you're back at the gym. Sync, that comes with music that you can use for video. You can't get a synchronization license from a major record label. So you're not going to be able to use Bruno Mars or even a cover version of Bruno Mars or Britney Spears or anything else like that, or Imagine Dragons, unless you get direct permission. And as we said earlier, Kelly, all the different people that have their hands in the pot: distributors, publishers, songwriters, artists, arrangers, composers, managers, it goes down the line, label rights and stuff like that. So, just know, work with a company that covers all your bases for you, one hand in the pot. They're able to say, here you go, this is music. Now, I want to talk about the process of producing a song to a mix. This right here is kind of basically, I kind of want to maybe bring this back to the end, because this kind of is something that we can discuss a little bit about the process towards the end of it. Okay. Before we move to the next topic, is there any questions or anything like that regarding the PPL versus sync?
Let me run out here and look at the feed. Oh, that's not the feed we want, is it? Here's our feed that we need to see. No questions yet.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so let's go back to your graphic.
So, and I'm going to probably circle back to this topic because it is probably, honestly, in my opinion, the most important topic of the day. So I might go back to this topic at the very end of all this, just to cover it again for people who are tuning in a little bit later. Is royalty-free does not mean copyright-free. And the thing is these terms are being put together by the fitness industry, and they're not understanding the difference between the two. So when you see someone saying, I need some copyright-free music, and someone saying, oh yeah, I've got copyright-free music, it's probably not copyright-free, unless specifically they have opted to not monetize their music in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to speak to you like a business owner, because that's what I am. When you put your music out for digital distribution, you have a choice of options. And if you want to bring up the graphic on sync royalties, collections options.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen again. I stopped that share because I knew that my graphics that you sent me are here. All right.
Okay. So this right here, this is a screenshot of my dashboard as an artist to my distributors. So when I put music out there in the digital sphere for sales, okay, and everything that it can be possibly done, digital distribution through iTunes, through Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anything and anywhere music could be used. Okay, this is a primary standard dashboard that we all have. Notice that only one thing is checkmarked and the other two are not checkmarked. Okay, they were. I just unchecked them a couple days ago to help you guys out. And this is what I mean. For anybody who has purchased what they call royalty-free music, okay, and I'm using air quotes because I'm going to explain the difference, okay? When you order, I'm going to use me because I can only answer for myself and no one else. When you buy music off of my website, okay, it is royalty-free. Now, what that means is you, as the purchaser of my music, do not have to pay me royalties for the use of the music. You buy the mix, you get to use the mix for that video. That's it. Transaction is over. Your video exists forever. The thing is if it was royalty music, then you would have to keep paying me royalties for the use of the music ongoing every quarter. That's the way it works. So when you buy royalty-free music, you don't pay royalties after the purchase. That fee that you paid, that's the license to use the music, no royalties after that, okay? Copyright-free, okay? What this means is that, trying to figure out the best way to explain this, is that the music, okay, is not technically copyright free, okay? What that means is if you look at this graphic, most people are going to want to get as much money as they can for their music. That's how we stay alive. We have to monetize the music the best way possible. That means that when people are putting videos out there, those videos, we're trying to monetize off of it. It's how we stay alive. We can't afford to sell music for $17 to $20 a mix and stay alive. There's got to be other ways to generate revenue, and it offsets that. That's how we keep the price low for your purchases. Otherwise, the music is going to be $250 to $400 per mix. That's what they were before myself and other aligned music providers of fitness decided to lower our rates for you. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say you buy one of my mixes, Feel the Beat Volume 2. Okay, just so you know, Feel the Beat Volume 2, you can go find that on Spotify. You can find that on Amazon. You can find it on, because Feel the Beat 1, 2, and 3 have been released as albums out there for digital distribution, which also means that if you use any song on those on YouTube or Facebook, you have the right to do that, but you're going to get a little notice that says copyright. Okay, go ahead and pull the second graphic up if you can. Understand there's a difference between copyright infringement claim and copyright notice. And 99% of the time, you're getting a copyright notice, not an infringement. And this is the graphic. This is an actual response to me from my distributor when I first heard about this, because I didn't know about this either. Please understand that I've been producing music for the big companies, Les Mills, Beachbody, all these larger companies, Nike, and things like that. They have their own proprietary platforms that they host their music, their videos on, whether it be infomercials for broadcast and television. We've all seen the Beachbody infomercials, DVDs. We've all received the workout DVDs. And most of these companies, when they put online digital videos, it's in their own proprietary web server. So we've never had to deal with this before because they weren't releasing YouTube videos like the individual instructors are. So this is a whole new thing that we are all learning about. The music's been out there. A good example is, we just talked about this earlier, Kelly, is I licensed about 20 songs to a record label in the Philippines that's putting out an album for iTunes. And they're probably going to change the names around to fit their branding the way that they want. And I'm fine with that. I have this all the time. I have a German partner that we do the same thing. We release songs, we change the artist names, and we change the names to fit the branding of that particular program. Those songs become registered with a rights organization like ASCAP or BMI, so they can go out and monetize the music on all the different live streaming services. It doesn't mean that you are infringing on the copyrights. You legally got the music the right way. I am the artist, I am the producer, and I am the publisher. But at the same time, other record labels are using the same music because they licensed it from me. Does that make sense?
It does. So do I even want to try to paraphrase? So what you're saying is that royalty free is different than copyright free. That
Right.
Copyright means that you have purchased it correctly, but that doesn't mean that you have the rights to use it everywhere.
Well, not really. Again, this is why this is such a, I mean, I feel like we're going to be spending more time on this topic than any other topic because it's such a confusing topic, okay? Royalty free means that, Kelly, okay, let's just say you went and bought one of my mixes on my website, okay? And I think you have my music, so think of a mix that you use.
Okay.
What mix title do you like?
So I do not have one in mind from you, but yes, I do have your music.
Okay, so let's just call it the ABC mix, okay?
Okay.
Well, hypothetical fake name. So you go online and you buy the ABC mix, and in that it says, you know, buying this mix allows you the right to use this music for your video without any issues, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You download the mix, you load it up, you do your workout with the ABC music, and then all of a sudden you get a notice on your YouTube page that says, you know, the following songs have been tagged for copyright, you know, basically like you see in this graphic, saying that these songs have been monetized. Now, most people are going to get alarmed and say, oh my gosh, I thought I was using the music right. I think I have to pull the music off because I got a copyright infringement claim. No, you did not. It's just telling you that the songs are being monetized. That's it. It's just a notice that those songs are being monetized, okay?
So when you see this notice come up for you, it's just saying the songs are being monetized. It does not mean that you've done something wrong.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's what copyright, okay, means, okay? Mm-hmm. So in essence, most songs are not going to be copyright free because when you create an artistic piece of a song and you put it out there, you're trying to generate wherever you can. You've got to diversify your revenue to stay alive because, you know, let's be realistic. There's no way someone can stay alive by selling original music. Okay, it takes me a month and a half to make 10 songs. It takes 12 songs to make a mix. So figure almost 2 months of work to make one mix, and I'm selling it for $16.95. Mm-hmm. You can kind of figure out, unless I have thousands and thousands of customers buying music every single month, which, you know, I'm a small guy. I don't have that. I'm working with the big companies and they generally license. This is new for me to work with the individuals directly. I have to find other ways to generate revenue. So it's got to be through monetization. So that's what that means. Okay. Now, if you're a instructor and you want to monetize your video, okay, that means you have to use music that is completely copyright free and royalty free, both combined. Okay. And I'm actually going to make a category on my website that gives a list of the mixes and songs that are both copyright free and
I think that would make a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, the instructors,
right.
they're just wanting to know what is safe for me to use.
Yeah, and it's all safe. It's all safe, but it's the difference between the people who are just putting out YouTube videos and the people who are putting out YouTube videos for monetization to make money off those videos. Does that make sense? So you could be one person who just puts out YouTube videos to keep your members engaged, and maybe they send you donations, or maybe they're paying a membership fee to your program, but the YouTube video itself, is not monetized.
They're not making money from YouTube.
From YouTube, from the video, or from Facebook, if that makes sense. Now, there's the other instructor who's like, I got to figure out a way to make money myself off the YouTube videos, and I've got 5,000 followers, and I'm, killing it on YouTube. I need to monetize this. That's different. At that point, you need the combination of the copyright free. Now, here's the difference, though, is when we do this, I'm sure that the music that's going to be made for monetized programs is going to be more expensive, because now I've eliminated every opportunity to make money anywhere else. It's literally only for you to get. Now, you'll be free. You're going to be able to monetize your videos. So that is going to be a whole new avenue. But right now, as it stands, any music you get from a site like mine or a site like Denise's, or that specifically say this music can be used for video, just know that you're probably still going to get a copyright notice. And I know this because Power Music, I produce for Power Music. I don't know if you know that or not. And so they have a huge catalog of my music, and even their copyrights sometimes come up from my mixes, because it's the same music, it's the same songs that they're licensed from me and that they've purchased from me. So that's a topic I want to cover again, but just understand that when you receive a copyright notice from music that you purchase legally, you're still doing it right. You're just getting a notice that music is just being monetized on your site. So, we're collecting small amounts of royalties off of your website. And when I say small, we're talking about 0.0001% of a penny. So you have to have 10 million plus views on your website for even us to start making any money at all. Just that's kind of the way it works. But it's a game of numbers. Okay.
And my experience with the instructors is that they want to know what's safe to use. And I'll give you an example. Eileen is asking, I've been told that for yoga classes, we can play classical music without a problem. And then Carl came in and said, classical music might be out of copyright, so you might be okay to use that in terms of the music, but the performance may still be.
Right. So most classical music is public domain. It's not owned anymore. It's, anyone could do it. But here's the thing. Somebody still recorded that version of that classical song. So you still have to pay that artist for their rendering. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Unless you make the song yourself, you go in the synthesizer and you play Chopin or you play Beethoven or Bach or something like that. At that point, then, you're free to use it because it's public domain. You produce the song yourself. But if you're using a song that has already been recorded and published, even though the song itself is public domain, the artist has the rights to that master. So you still have to license that master. You have no publishing, though. There's no publishing unless they published that master to somebody. Then it becomes, so that's why it becomes red tape. The only way to truly be safe in any of this is you got to go to a company on a website that's their whole job is to give you music that you can use, that's cleared and ready to go for you to use on your videos.
Beautiful. Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense.
So I know we spent a lot of time on this topic, and again, I want to circle back to this at the end because it is such an important topic. Let's move down the line though, unless there's any other questions about this particular topic.
Let's see. Not right now.
Okay.
For some reason, we don't have a lot of people on live with us today, but we usually end up getting a couple hundred views. So a lot of people will see this, and it's great that we're getting this information out there, but not a lot of people on live. So not a lot of questions just yet.
Okay, no worries, definitely. And hopefully we'll cover that again and get that going. Individual purchase versus monthly subscription. I've seen some posts about people doing the subscription thing and all of that. We have a subscription service as well.
Mhm.
And the
And
difference,
when you're talking about this, you're talking about this with any company, not necessarily just with yours.
right? Yeah, I know that Denise, I believe, has one. I think Power Music has one. A lot of the companies like ourselves that offer music to fitness instructors have either the option of purchasing mixes or songs individually, or paying a blanket monthly subscription fee to have full access. I just kind of want to talk about the benefits of going either way. So if you are producing more than 2 or 3 videos, or hosting 2 to 3 videos a week, you should be doing a subscription. You should not be buying mixes individually. You're going to actually do a lot better with a subscription.
And you're just
Um,
saying that financially wise, that it's going to be better for your
exactly. And I'm
clients.
sure my licensing terms are no different than anyone else's. Is if you were to buy one of my mixes, the ABC mix, we'll just call that again, um, you in reality, when you buy that mix, it's meant to be for one video. So let's just call this the ABC workout with the ABC mix, and you put the two together, it becomes a package. Once that package is put together and posted, it lives out there in the webosphere forever. That mix is with it, and it's going to go on for life. But you can't turn around and use the ABC mix and then make the 1 2 3 workout and put the ABC mix on it, and then the XYZ workout and the same mix. You can't keep doing that over and over again, not at the price. You're going to have to relicense the mix each time for each new video. With the subscription, it's unlimited. You can use,
Wow.
that's the difference. Now, that's my terms. I don't know about anyone else's, but that's kind of the thing. So if you're doing multiple videos a week, you really want to be on the subscription program because this, you don't want to have the same music on every single video. It's going to start making you look bad. Okay. You have a fresh new workout. You should have a fresh new sound with the workout. Keep everything new, fresh, and interesting. So your users, your members will feel like it's a new experience, and there's nothing from the old experience. It's all fresh. The only thing that's going to be familiar to it is the instructor. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
The person that they're feeling comfortable with. But that instructor brings a new level of energy. That includes new music, maybe a new setting, like a backdrop, maybe, whatever it is that they're doing, is everything's fresh. So that's just a recommendation. But as a subscription member, you can go in literally to a portal and download. Okay. And when I say download, literally the download goes to your direct hard drive. It's not an app that is proprietary and you have to use the app and the music. You actually can go into this portal and download the music, and then you've got the music on your hard drive forever. And then you can set it up that way. So anyone who wants to know more about that, they can go to the website. And then obviously we talked about discounts for members. This is the last topic for music. Is we set up a discount. I've sent you the graphic. You've got the graphic. You can post that to your group.
I think I may not have it, Brian. Might need you to get me to
I'll have to
send
get
it
that
to
over
me.
to you. All right, I'll post that today.
Okay.
Or I'll get that over to you to
Yeah.
post today.
Either way. Either
Yep.
way would be great.
Perfect. I'll get
Or
that over.
both ways.
And basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a 15% discount blanket across the board for people who want to make purchases on the website to get music and stuff like that. And so we'll send you a unique discount code that's exclusive to you guys only. And that'll give you access to any of the music programs on the website.
Beautiful.
And then I'll go back to the final thing because I kind of skipped this, and I want to talk about the process of producing a song and a mix. Okay.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, this is kind of how it works and how music is made from me. Is I generally tend to create music based on the demand. And if you go to my website and you look at my mixes, most of my mixes are very EDM heavy. Some people like to call it techno. It's not techno. Techno came out in the 90s. This is not techno. EDM is a blanket term for electronic dance music, but mine tend to be a little bit more club heavy. And there's a reason for that. It's not because I personally like that type of music and I'm just producing what I want. I go based on I'd say the requests of my clientele. Understand who's one of my biggest clients? Beachbody. What kind of music do they mostly use? Very bass heavy, club oriented, aggressive in your face music. So what they would do is every single month, they would send me what they would call an inspiration list of songs. And it would literally be songs that they're hearing that they're vibing off of. And they're like, this is what we're feeling. We need songs like this for our next Turbo Kick program or our PIO program or Size or something like that. And so then I would produce music to sound like those reference tracks would be, the original, like the Calvin Harris or the David Guetta or LMFAO or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I would make music in that style. That's how my catalog would fill up of those type of songs. One of my most popular fitness formats that people seem to buy my music for is kickboxing aerobics, because that's where I started. I was a Taibo instructor. Billy Blanks was one of my associates. And so I was actually a Taibo instructor in the early 90s. So my music came from that style, Mortal Kombat, aggressive, really gritty, bass heavy music. Now, I'm starting to see a lot more requests for disco-ish kind of sound. Not the old school 70s disco, but it's called new disco, which is kind of that funky Chromeo, Daft Punk kind of feel and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so now you'll start seeing more releases like that. But that's what I do is I'll sit down in my studio, this one right here, and I'll start thinking about my clients and what they're using. And I'll start, like, in my mind going through choreography. And I'll start producing music, thinking about choreography. Okay, here's a build. What is going to happen after this build? And I'll think of an instructor counting down 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And I'll think about how I produce the next sequence of 32 counts. How's that going to sound? What's it going to be like? So that's
that is the advantage of the fact that you've actually been an instructor versus someone that is making music and has not done it.
Right. And there is a big difference in producing just a song and producing a song formatted for fitness. We all understand 32 count. The challenge this, and I actually learned this from one of my clients a long time ago, is even though the music has to be 32 count, which sounds kind of repetitive because there's no creative dynamics and builds like a normal song, has these bridges and these kind of little cool little creative drops that make a song kind of ebb and flow, kind of fluctuate and stuff like that. Fitness music has to be solid. And we all say we need that hard beat. We need that kick drum to keep the tempo going. But how do we make a song interesting? Does that make sense? How do we make this song?
Absolutely. No, I think that I feel like that is one of the reasons that there was a rise in some of the pre-choreographed stuff, is because their music was a little bit more interesting, because the fitness music got a little stale because it was 32 and it was
32,
just all the way
32,
through. Yeah.
Squared, exactly. And that's why Les Mills did it right. Yeah, Les Mills did it right. And most of their music, if you take a body pump or a combat class and they're doing rounds, it's not a mixed, it's like a 3-minute song, a 4-minute song. Here's a chest track, here's a shoulders track, here's a lunge track. And the songs are not 32 count. They do drop down. Now, for most people who are still doing 32 count choreography, that's just not going to work. You still need a mix and it still needs to be consistent. So what I do as an artist, but also as a fitness person, is when I'm producing a song, the song has to tell a story. Even if there's no lyrics, it needs to take you on a journey. So in my music, it is not just canned repetitive sequences that go back, that just loop over and over again, but it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's a climax to the song, there's builds, there's drops, but there's always that consistent 32 count sequence and some sort of a metronome pattern, whether that be percussion, a clap, something like that. I might not always have a kick drum in there because at some point I want the song to have a dynamic, but you still need to follow a tempo. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every one of my songs has this progression and this build to it, so it takes you somewhere.
Yeah, that's really fun. I love that. So, and then I think we were going to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that you're doing.
Yes.
So one of the really exciting things that I saw in the poll that I put up in the group earlier this week was about, I was asking about pivots, and someone said the biggest pivot that I've done is I'm doing kind of workout delivery. And you had put some pictures up in the group a while back showing the workout delivery service.
Yep, we're calling it the quarantine neighborhood workout, and this actually became a thing because one of my fitness friends or one of my customers who uses my music sent me a video that went viral of some guy in his driveway, doing like an impromptu workout in his neighborhood, and he's marching up and down the street and he's on this microphone. He's kind of goofy, and you could tell that he doesn't really know anything about fitness. He's up there just kind of being fun and like, hey, flail your arms around. But someone says, hey, we should do something like that. You should consider doing something like that. So it really kind of sparked from that. And I thought, really, would someone be into that? So I just kind of created a small Facebook group and kind of threw it out there, reached out to my network of fitness instructors and said, who'd be interested in doing something like this? We're all kind of stuck at home. There's no I in group. Does that make sense? And so group means we want to be with other people. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're lacking right now, is that energy of being around other people and being held accountable to our workout, because right now, and I'm not trying to knock any of the Zoom programs because I sell music for people to do this, but here's the reality between us as professionals is it's hard to hold someone accountable when you can't be right there to correct their moves or be right there to say, come on, you got 3 more to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you're in a group setting, that's where you can get, as a participant, I'm held accountable because my trainer is right in front of me and they're saying, squat lower, better push-up, straighten out your head.
Absolutely.
You've got
There's a reason that Beachbody and Les Mills On Demand have not already taken over the fitness industry. And it's because we do need the individual attention from our instructors.
We do. And one thing that Zoom has been great for that the other platforms that are streaming haven't is because I work with Burn Boot Camp quite regularly, and F45 are another one of my clients, is the instructor is looking at you through the screen. Like you can see me right now. If we had 15, 20 people in this thing, you as the host, i.e. the instructor, can look at all 15 people and know who's sitting down and who's actually doing some work. And you can hold them accountable. That's great. That is something that Zoom can do that the other platforms cannot do, is you can sit there and pinpoint, and I get it all the time. So I don't just teach, I take. So I like to take people's classes, and I'll catch myself getting tired and I'm like, hold it. And also my butt starts lifting up a little too high on the plank and I hear it. I don't see it because I'm looking down at the ground and, hey, Brian, get that butt down, get that butt down. I'm like,
You can almost see it even better when it's flat on a screen as the instructor.
Yes, exactly. But now let's take that and do what we've always done with group fitness. And so the idea behind, circling back to this is that I thought, okay, well, let's give this a shot. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble or not, but I'll reach out to the county. Obviously, I got no information from the county on it because this is all new. We're making things up as we go along pretty much. I said, let's just do it. So I grabbed one of my fitness instructors. I have sound equipment. And we just organized and said, okay, I need at least 5 homes to participate in this to make it work. And I need to make sure that your neighborhood is signed off on this, that everyone agrees, because we're going to blast some music in your neighborhood and you're going to come out in the street and we're going to explain how this works. And so we did the first one and it worked out amazingly. And then as soon as we did that, more people, and then the local radio station got on board and they did a whole topic of the neighborhood workout. And then the newspaper got involved and a couple, like Facebook news groups and stuff like that did the same thing. So now we're doing about 4 a week. On Monday, you've heard of the Murph Challenge?
No.
Ooh, this is a tough one. There's a guy, I think his last name is Murphy. He's a military trainer and he came up with the program. You can Google it. It's called the Murph Challenge.
Okay.
It is intense. And again, I'm not looking at it, but I think it's like 100 pull-ups, 300 push-ups. You run a mile to start off with. It's just like a whole gamut of like 6 or 7 body movements. And you have to do it within, I think, an hour to an hour and a half or something like that. We're doing that. And I think it's pretty famous for Memorial Day or Labor Day weekends and stuff like that. Okay. So we're going to do that on Monday, but we send it out to the group. So, okay, so Monday's challenge, we're going to do the Murph. And I put an up like, this is what we're going to do. But the thing is we're seeing people that normally don't go out and do group fitness show up to these and they're getting inspired and they're getting like, okay, this is cool. I want to give this a shot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm
talked about that at the beginning of the quarantines and maybe even before that a little bit, where people were starting to get in the group and say, hey, you guys, what do you think about the fact that, Peloton is so popular? And I kept saying a rising tide raises all ships. It's bringing more awareness. It's bringing people in who haven't done it before. It's bringing more men because it's been a traditionally women's activity, especially certain formats. And so, that's great.
Well, it's a way to keep your brand in front of people as well, publicly, face to face. And so I have an outline that I want to kind of talk about in terms of like running a fitness training business. You guys, everyone already knows how to train as a fitness instructor, but let's take that hat off and put the ownership hat on, the business owner. Now, if you are just an individual instructor and you go out and you teach at different places, you're still a business owner. As long as you're marketing yourself and you're employable, if you're a 1099 instructor, or even an employed instructor, if you're at multiple locations, you're technically working for yourself. You're self-employed. And so you've got to kind of put the hat of being a owner on. So let's talk about the brand, okay? When coming up with a fitness training business, you have to think, what is your brand? Now, for me, because we're going out into neighborhoods and we're going out into public parks, we don't have weights. we don't have equipment, and I can't, even consider doing bands. I have to think about the people showing up not having anything. So our brand is body weight conditioning, boot camp style programs, the things that we can do without tools, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, sprint drills, lunges, anything, maybe inclines on some steps or stuff like that. So that's the brand, body weight conditioning that anyone can do. Let's talk about the hats. Okay. A hat is what we say in business for when you're doing a particular project for your company. So if you are self-employed and you have nobody that does anything for you, you do it all, you wear a lot of hats. You've heard of that term, Kelly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, that could be you're the fitness trainer. That's one hat. The marketing and promotions manager. That's another hat. The accountant. That's another hat. Maybe you are an equipment handler. So maybe you've got equipment you've got to clean and get organized and disinfect and get ready for your next thing. That's another hat. For online videos, you are now a media manager and an IT person because you're handling your Zoom feeds and things like that. That's another hat. So you have to understand when to put the right hat on and focus on those particular things. But just understand that as a business owner, you wear more than just one hat. You are not just a fitness instructor. You are a owner with lots of hats. And so maybe sit down one day and think about all the different things, the definition of each hat that you wear, and sometimes lay it out in an outline like this one right here. I do this a lot. This outline right here, I do a lot to just visually see what am I doing and why am I doing it? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And it keeps me organized.
Beautiful.
Your target group. Let's talk about that target group for a second. I do athletic conditioning programs, full body weight. So that really kind of works for anyone. Okay. Now, if you're a CrossFit person, let's just say CrossFit is your brand. Well, then think about the demographic of the person that would do CrossFit and focus on that target. And that kind of would be the target group that you would market to online, through whatever advertising, word of mouth, through networks and communities. Think about the target group that you're going after. My group seems to right now is pretty broad age, but predominantly, again, female. We do have some men. I don't know why I can't get more men into this. I don't understand that yet.
Give it time. Rising tide raises all ships.
It is, and I'm trying to it's starting to work a little bit, but basically, think about your target group and focus on that target group. Don't just try to send a shotgun out there to anyone and everyone. Think about the group and focus your efforts towards that group. And generally, word of mouth is going to get you a lot more business. If you hit the right people and you get them excited, they're going to tell their friends about it. Any questions before I move on?
Hold on. Let me check the feed. No, we are good. Let's see. Oh, yes. They're saying, I wish I had neighbors that would do it. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I have noticed recently is this idea of the delivery workout. And then I saw somebody doing, it was a company that they send like characters out to children's birthday parties. And of course, their business has a complete stoppage because of what's going on. Yes. And so they pivoted and they did book me to work to play with your kids. So these people are dressed up as children's characters and they have pink hair and they've got these beautiful costumes and they just book these sessions to play with kids on Zoom. And yes. I thought that's an amazing pivot for a fitness business too, is to just say, hey, do you need me to kick your butt? Like, have you not been doing your workouts? So book me and I will show up and I will make sure that you do it. And so we might be on Zoom, but it's, I think great pivots that go beyond kind of just the online delivery of a class or a personal training session.
And some of that can even include like talking about food, accountability to food. I don't know about y'all, but I snack a heck of a lot more now than I've ever snacked before. I'm gonna
the trainer that gets on every time you start eating and says, nope, not that.
I'm gonna be very honest and transparent with you. Right before I got online with you, I had a handful of cheese balls and I ate them. The little cheese puffs. Yes, I went crazy on them. But hold on.
Oh, stop talking about food. I'm starving.
I got water here, so I'm But yeah, it just happened. I was like sitting there getting some things together, and we just bought those big jugs. I don't even know why, of cheese balls because they're super cheap.
Because they're so delicious.
And I was sitting there and I just looked over it and I literally had a smoothie for breakfast, like with all the good stuff in it, like protein, the greens, all this stuff like that. I'm like, all right, starting the day off right. And I'm getting ready. And all of a sudden it was right there. And without thinking about it, I just reached in and started eating them until I started going, what am I doing? And it was when the fingers started getting all that cheesy stuff, when I started to realize this is ridiculous. But yeah, so that would be another thing for someone to do, is not just about the workout, but hold them accountable to nutrition. Talk to them, consult with them. How you doing today? Let's make a challenge. Here's what I want you to do is try to do this, eat this, do that. I mean, those are all things you could do.
Like a 10-minute call in the morning.
Yes.
I think that could be super popular, actually.
Adaptability.
Guys, take these ideas, take them. I'm not doing them.
Yeah. I mean, it's really what it is. It's adaptability. So let's go down and let's talk about your team. So we talked about the hats. So if you are an individual owner, and an owner means that, let's just say, okay, as a DJ, I want to go out and I want to DJ events. Okay, I'm self-employed and I am my own company. I have to wear a lot of hats. But then you can get to a point where you got to realize is there are people who are very good at what they do, but what they do may not be what is needed. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of people who are really good at teaching a class, but maybe they're not good at running a business, or maybe they're not good at marketing, or maybe they're not good at writing up certain things or stuff like that. Maybe we all are humans and we can't be amazing and perfect at everything. We have to understand that we need to focus on our strengths, but surround yourself with a team of people that can do the things that you can't do. It's called delegation. And this is where the difference between just being an owner and a leader. And the thing is people mix it up. You think an owner is the boss. The word boss is a horrible word. Leader, we all know this. Coaches, leaders. As fitness instructors, we are coaches. We inspire, we educate, we set examples, and then we hold people accountable. It's the same thing as a person who runs a business. Your team, okay? So for me, I don't go out and teach all my own classes. I'm going to teach one tonight. I took one yesterday with one of my trainers. And what that means is I find people that are better than me at things that I'm not good at, and I trust them to do the things that I cannot do, which complements the entire team. And I set them up for success. I give them the tools that they need to do the job that's going to make all of us successful.
Absolutely.
Have a good team in place.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs get sold on that idea of hustle harder, hustle more, work 24/7. And I'm 47 years old. So a while back, I came to the conclusion that hustle is bullshit. I don't agree with it. I agree with delegation. I agree with working smart and having a strategy. But I don't see where working 24/7 is necessarily the way to go. Not for all of us.
There's people out there that still think that that's the way to go, that you've got to work hard. You got to work hard. You do have to work hard. There is hard work, but you should work smart first, okay? Think of an efficient way to get your priorities or your responsibilities taken care of, okay? And sometimes it means maybe you're not the one to do those things. Maybe you delegate to someone else on your team. I need you to be responsible for this aspect of the business. Yeah. Can you do that? Here's, tell me what you need. Let me get you set up so you're successful, which makes us all successful. So yes, your team. Now let's talk about liability. We all know about liability. When we think about it, we think of injury, but we don't think about all the other things that come with a business ownership or running a business. It's not just about injury, because liability, that's the first thing we think of. That's probably the first thing you thought about is, oh, we're in fitness. Liability means someone getting hurt. Liability is everything. It's your brand. How is your brand being represented? The team that you designate, are they representing you correctly when they're not in front of you? Okay. I'll use an example is I'm going to use the DJ world. Okay. So this is kind of a parallel to the fitness industry, but it's in the DJ side. Okay. I worked with a group where one of my DJs, this is a long time ago, he went out to do an event. Okay. And it's very specific in my rules to my team. When you are on site at an event for some special party, you're not allowed to drink. Okay. This particular person decided he wanted to take a glass of wine that was offered to him, and he didn't want to be rude. He drank it and then drank another and then drank another. And then he started doing shots. He got drunk on the job and made a fool of himself. Guess what? That liability is on me, because he was representing my company. So they didn't say, oh, John Doe, the DJ, got drunk. my company sent a person out who got drunk. Does that make sense? So we have to think about everything that we do. And then I also had another person, not from me, but from another person's company, who was on Facebook posting a whole bunch of like hotbed topics. And I will just leave it at that. We all know what hotbed topics are. Okay. Now it's his personal page. He can do whatever he wants. But the thing is you have to kind of look at the fact that this person also managed a company that was listed on his page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are things that I mean. So liability doesn't always necessarily mean injury. It means, make sure that, your brand is protected, your team is protected, your clients are protected, the message that you send out, your reputation, everything that is protected, and that you're aware of what's going on around you. Think about the liabilities that everything that you do. That's basically it right there. Last thing is your marketing message. And this is the last thing that we'll talk about with this is you already identified your brand. You already identified what your responsibilities are. And if you have a team, how to designate, out to your team, what those other responsibilities are. You now have a target group. You understand how to keep your brand safe and secure by preventing a lot of liability against you. And now you have to think about your marketing message. Who do you go, what's that message going to be? What is it consistently? We know a lot of these bigger companies have their message and it's very consistent. It's very straightforward. Your brand is just a brand, but with the message behind it is, and the consistent message behind it, it's what people think of when it's your brand. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just think about your marketing message, how you say things and how you show things, the imaging. I see a lot of online videos, and we're going to kind of get into this because this is where we circle to what we were talking about earlier in terms of mixing audio with mics and music.
Oh, yes, we definitely want to talk about that. Let's try to end on this topic because we do try to keep this to 55 minutes. To under 55.
Oh, and we're right at 54, aren't we?
We are, but that's okay because this is something that instructors have been asking about a ton and that I don't completely understand is the mixing. I know that there is equipment. I've heard there are apps where you can mix the music with the microphone. Tell me everything you know about that. I can't wait to do this.
Perfect. And that's how, and honestly, this last one circles to that about the marketing message. Okay. The difference between someone who wants to watch a workout video where you hear them echoing way back here, right? It's super quiet and stuff like that. And then you hear the echoing music off in the background, like it sounds like it. Okay. Or the next person who over here is right there, good lighting. You can hear their voice concisely and the music is mixed in with it. Which video are you going to watch? Which video are you going to want to participate in? Marketing message. It's just the same thing. Okay. So let's talk about equipment. Now, I honestly don't know about any apps. Okay. I work from laptops and desktops. I do not rely on mobile devices for things that are super important, like, posting a workout video. You can use your phone as a camera and attach it to your computer and stuff like that. But basically it comes down to hardware. If you go on, and I'm going to just use Amazon because that's one that most people seem to go to look for products and stuff like that. So we'll just use it, some people, it could be eBay, it could be Walmart, it could be your local provider, but I'll just, for hypothetical purposes and for general purposes, I'll use Amazon. Is what you're going to want to look for is a USB audio line mixer. Okay, it's very important. And the reason why is because
write it down.
Here you go. And USB is very important. Audio line mixer. Okay, they're not very expensive. I've seen them as low as $49 up to $500 and everything in between. For the purposes of what our community in the fitness industry are trying to do, you do not have to spend money on a $500 one. I've got one myself. It's back here. This is about a $1,500 audio interface. Okay, but I'm also doing full studio production, but I'm not streaming. It's designed for mixing music into my computer. The ones that I've seen out there that have been good have been between $49 and $79. No more than $100.
You don't need to invest a whole ton of money and just to get the music and the mic together and then plugged into your computer.
Exactly it. So the reason why this mixer is so important, let's just step out of our home and let's put our brain back into the gym. Okay. When you go to the gym, you put a headset on, right? You plug in your music to a jack or a Bluetooth, right? And there's a gadget in front of you with a whole bunch of knobs, right? And you have to turn this volume up, and there's like a little thing that's usually written above it and say, here's your mic volume, here's your music volume, and you adjust. differently, correct? Right?
Absolutely.
You need that at home. That's what you need. That is the audio line mixer. The gym has an audio line mixer. The difference is it's not going into a computer and being broadcast. It's coming from the speakers, but it's the same principle. The microphone and the mixer are being mixed together to be broadcast over the speakers in the gym. So now let's just get the speakers out of there and make that your computer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the audio line mixer will have an input that you plug your music into and an input that you plug your microphone into. And now you've got dual adjustability. And that output of that mixer goes into your laptop or your desktop. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then now the app for the desktop or the laptop usually would come with the mixer. Usually it will come with some sort of software to be able to mix that. Headsets. You can buy a wireless, completely battery-powered wireless headset for $29 to $39 on Amazon. It is not professional level, but it will work for home. What you don't want to be doing is using your microphone on your laptop or your desktop and being 30 feet away, because then it's going to sound like you're 30 feet away. You still want the microphone. They're very inexpensive, $29 to $39 on Amazon. You could find them all day long. All you got to do is type in wireless headset mic, and you will literally see them. And that they have like this little thing that looks like a USB dongle thing. You just plug in. It's the battery powered receiver. The transmitters are usually built into the headset itself, so you have no battery pack on you. Because I don't know about you, I can't stand the battery packs. You know, you're trying to do a crunch or something on your back and you're constantly moving the belt around. They're super cheap, but basically you do that. You plug it into the line mixer, you take your music, you plug it into the line mixer, and you just set the volumes accordingly, and then you're good to go. And usually the lower the volume, the better, because people could turn their phones up or their laptops up or their tablets up to watch you. But if you're crunching, just like in the gym, we know what it sounds like when you push everything to 11. It sounds horrible. It's distorted. It's loud. It's unbearable. All of a sudden, the music and the microphone start kind of smashing against each other. Think about that. Keep your volumes lower.
Yeah.
So that way it allows the microphone and the music to kind of breathe. It shares the space correctly, if that makes sense.
Beautiful. That is such good information. We really have been asked about that a lot. So you guys, what I will do for you is I will be sure to get my hands on one, and then I'll make a video for you showing how you hook it up to the computer and how you adjust everything. And, you know, Brian, if you've got any content like that, you are more than welcome to share it with the group. We would love to see it.
Definitely. I can, I'll post a link up to some of the ones that I know work pretty well. And like I said, within about $100 or less. And they're little mixers. You'll know it. It looks no different than what you've seen in your gym, just a little smaller. The gym ones are usually big. They're rack mounted up on like a shelf usually.
Yeah.
And they've got probably 6 or 7 channels. This one is like a little tiny one. It's about so big. It works perfectly. And you plug the USB into your computer. It interfaces with your computer. So that way it becomes kind of like an internal sound card. And then you just go into your computer settings and you set up, input coming from USB device is usually what it'll say.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with that, let's wrap it up. We are right at an hour, which is what we target for. You have packed this hour so full of information. So we really appreciate that. People are loving it. I'm getting lots of comments here. And so let's let DJ Brian go. You guys, I will see you next week. Brian, thank you so much for being with us and for all the great information.
Absolutely. And look for a discount graphic right after this. I'll send it to your page. I'll send it to you directly so you can send it out to whomever. It'll have a discount code for 15% off all the mixes on the website. And I will create an article about copyright versus royalty free and the differences between the two.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. You'll create that at fitprosconnect.com?
Absolutely.
That'll be awesome. Okay. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. I got to get back to work now.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm signing off too. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.